Hey fam, how's it going? Speed Duel Bro here, and in today's video we have Fog Warning. Translation, Cloudians. Let's go. For the skill card we have Fog Warning, and then for the monster lineup we've got 3 Zero Stratos, 3 Acid Cloud, 1 Altus, 2 Nimbus Man, and 1 Eye of the Typhoon. And for the spell lineup we have 1 Offerings to the Doomed, 3 Cloudian Aerosol. And then for the trap lineup, we have 3 Raging Cloudian and 3 Widespread Ruin. And then for the extra deck, we have any fusion monster of your choosing. And then for the side deck, we've got 3 Book of Moon, 2 Galaxy Cyclone, and 1 Waking the Dragon. How to win / strategies. Now before we go over the game plan fam, I just want us to review the skill card real quick and have a quick run through of what the Cloudians are all about, just for those people who don't know what they are. So let's review the skill card real quick, and if you notice on the back it says here, at the start of the duel, flip this card over. So let's flip it over. It reads, each time you place a fog counter or counters on a monster / monsters, give it an additional fog counter. Fairly simple, right fam? And that's what I like. Plain and simple, because sometimes simple is best. And now that we've reviewed the skill card, let's have a quick run through of what the Cloudians are about. So with the Cloudians, all you basically need to know is they can't be destroyed by battle, but if you manually set them in defense position, just like this, or if they get set in defense position by another card effect, they get destroyed. And then also, the Cloudians are all about fog counters, and with these 2 specific Cloudians, and I'm sure there are other Cloudians that have this mechanic, but with these 2 right here, with Zero Stratus and Acid Cloud, they get a fog counter when they are normal summoned for each Cloudian on the field, including itself. So with that being said, we are going to utilize this skill card to the fullest, and it's gonna involve these 2 right here, Zero Stratus and Acid Cloud, because with Zero Stratus, when it has 2 fog counters on it, we remove those 2 fog counters and destroy any monster on the field. And then Acid Cloud is basically the spell and trap card version of Zero Stratos. Instead of monsters, we get to remove 2 fog counters to pop any back row. So as you can see fam, all we really have to do with this deck is just normal summon, and we have an insta-pop just like that. And for those of you that don't know the Yu-Gi-Oh lingo, pop means destroy, and then there are other words too, like bounce means return to the hand, but we can get into all of that stuff another day. Maybe I should make an Instagram account for those fun little facts. What do you think, fam? But anyways, let's return to the strategy. Let's refocus here. What's amazing to me, fam, is that as long as we have fog counters on our Cloudians, we can pop the opponent's field all day, every day, because the ability to remove 2 fog counters and destroy something, it's not once per turn. And that's where Cloudian Aerosol comes in. It will allow us to keep stacking those fog counters. But let's clear the field here a little bit, fam. It's getting a little bit too much now. So let's say, for example, that the opponent summoned a monster, and now it's our turn, and we normal summon Zero Stratos. So we get the 2 fog counters, one from its own effect and one from the skill card, right? So we pop the opponent's monster, and now we're left with no fog counters. But then the opponent decides to summon another monster. So what do we do, fam? So obviously we're gonna take a little bit of a beating, because the Cloudians unfortunately are a little bit on the weaker side in terms of attack strength. But we can't be destroyed by battle, so unless your opponent has some form of removal, the Cloudians are gonna stay on the field for a pretty good time. A pretty long time. But anyways, so we had just received an attack from the opponent, right? So now it's our turn. We just have Zero Stratos with no fog counters, so what do? Well, this is what I want you to do, fam. Shift Zero Stratos to defense position, thus destroying it by its own effect, and then we activate Raging Cloudian. So why don't we read Raging Cloudian real quick? It reads, when a Cloudian monster or monsters you control is destroyed by its own effect and sent to your graveyard, target one of those monsters, special summon it in attack position, and if you do, place 1 fog counter on it. Also, it cannot be changed to defense position by card effects. So as you can see, fam, we are just gonna bring back our Zero Stratos, place a fog counter on it because of Raging Cloudian, and then get another fog counter because of fog warning. So there you go, problem solved. We can pop the opponent's monster all over again. And that's how you're going to take command of the field and win the duel from there. Because again, we're all about the fog counters, and the fact that Cloudians can't be destroyed by battle, they're gonna stay on the field for a pretty long time. So let's say we had used the Cloudian Aerosol to stack fog counters, we're gonna build more momentum because Cloudian Aerosol has that second effect of where we can banish this and another Cloudian monster from our graveyards to special summon Cloudian from our deck. Before we continue on with this part, just mind you, fam, that the Cloudian Aerosol, you can only use one of its effects once per turn and only once that turn, okay? So just read it closely, keep that in mind. But the fact that, let's say we, again, had stacked our fog counters somewhere on the field, we can either bring out Nimbus Man and or Typhoon. So these two right here are the muscle of the deck. But I think all of you are starting to get the picture of this main strategy here. We normal summon, use Zero Stratos and Acid Cloud most of the time, and since they can't be destroyed by battle, we're gonna have a pretty good chance to stack our fog counters through Aerosol, and then we just bring out the heavy beaters, Nimbus Man and Typhoon. And then again, if we had used up our 2 fog counters right away, we resort to Raging Cloudian to just reset everything all over again and pop everything all over again. You know, in my humble opinion, Raging Cloudian is probably the MVP tech of this deck. Card analysis, the skill card Fog Warning. All I can say is that Konami has really been knocking these skill cards out of the park, meaning they're doing a really great job with these skill cards because the Cloudian archetype, for those of you that played in the TCG days, we all know that the Cloudians were just not playable at all. One of the worst archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh history ever, as far as I remember anyways. But thanks to speed duels, even bad archetypes have a second chance at life. So good job, Konami, for this skill card Fog Warning. Excellent, excellent skill card for the Cloudians. And then we play the 3 Zero Stratos and the 3 Acid Cloud. As shown in the how to win / strategies part of the video, your bread and butter play is going to revolve around these two. This is how we're going to win most of our duels. Pretty self-explanatory if you ask me. And then we played the 1 Altus. Now this fam is more so like a Cloudian tech piece choice. If you really wanted to make this deck a little bit better, you could take out the Altus and put something in more competitive, like a DD Warrior Lady or something like that. But you know me, whenever there's a theme to a deck, I try to stay true to the theme as much as possible. So that's why I played the 1 Altus. Hey, if anything, Altus is, I think, the strongest Cloudian because it's got 1300 attack, so it's got that going for it. Excuse me. Altus is the strongest level 4 Cloudian. And then we played the 2 Nimbus Man and the 1 Eye of the Typhoon. As mentioned earlier, Nimbus Man and Typhoon here, they're more so the muscle of the deck, and we are looking to bring these guys out through Cloudian Aerosol. I mean, we could tribute for them, but we want to bring these out in style. And if we use Cloudian Aerosol, it's just easier too. And then we play the 1 Offerings to the Doom. Now the reason why I chose Offerings to the Doom for this deck, fam, is because I'm really concerned with keeping the opponent's field clean and clear so that we can chip away at their life points. Because remember, the Cloudians, our level 4 Cloudians at least, are not going to be winning any battle phases with an opponent's monster. So my main priority is to always just keep the opponent's side of the field clear. And yes, I know that Zero Stratos and Acid Cloud are supposed to take care of whatever the opponent may have, but it's about saving your resources, fam. You know, you're gonna learn and realize that when you start playing the Cloudian deck, it's gonna be like a duel of attrition because you want to save your fog counters for whatever the opponent's gonna send our way. So Offerings to the Doom helps us accomplish that. It helps us save our fog counters so that we can just keep popping and popping the opponent's side of the field. And then we play the 3 Cloudian Aerosol. Now this I feel is also self-explanatory. This is like the combo card of the deck. Once you establish Zero Stratos or any of these Cloudians on the field, play Aerosol and you continue to build momentum. And a quick note too, fam, don't be afraid to set the Cloudian Aerosol too, so that you can, let's say for example, you've already established your field and you've already had the fog counters you need, right? Don't be afraid to set this down as a bluff, so that, you know, if the opponent pops it, well, at least we can use the second effect of Aerosol. And we made the opponent waste a back row card removal. And then we play the 3 Raging Cloudian, and as I mentioned earlier, in my humble opinion, Raging Cloudian is the MVP tech for this deck, because once we've used up our fog counters with Zero Stratus or Acid Cloud, Raging Cloudian will basically reset everything so we can have the 2 fog counters and pop again. I love this card for the Cloudians. And then we play the 3 Widespread Ruin. Now the reason why I chose Widespread Ruin is because it coincides with what I said about offerings to the doomed. We need to prioritize clearing the opponent's side of the field so that we can save our fog counters for whatever else the opponent sends our way. And again, the Cloudians, the level 4 ones, are all weak. So if our opponent constantly has high attack monsters and we don't have some form of protection, our life points are going to take a beating and we will eventually lose the duel. Because again, look at their attack strength, fam. We're not running over anything with that. But yeah, that's why I have the 3 Widespread Ruins. And then we get to the side deck here. The reason why we're playing 3 Book of Moon is because sometimes the opponent may summon something that's just too much to handle upon summon. So Book of Moon will help us shut that down immediately, and who knows, maybe we can dodge some back row with it. You all know how good Book of Moon is. I don't need to explain its greatness. And then we play the 2 Galaxy Cyclone. This is just to help with back row. You know, if the opponent has some excessive back row, then go ahead and side in the Galaxy Cyclones. And then we play the 1 Waking the Dragon, because the opponent will realize that we are heavily reliant on our back row. So why not punish the opponent for thinking that they're gonna hit one of our precious back row, right? And then as for the extra deck, any Waking the Dragon targets of your choosing. And now, fam, it's time for the moment of truth. Where does this deck rank on the power scale? In my humble opinion, this deck is semi-competitive. Now, the reason why I say this deck is semi-competitive, fam, is because the ability to be able to pop something on the field just for normal summoning a monster, that's extremely dangerous for the opponent. You know, nothing is safe for them. And honestly, the only thing that's holding this deck back from being competitive is that, again, we lack the natural offensive firepower, but we've got everything else going for us. We can't be destroyed by battle, and realistically, unless your opponent runs a lot of removal cards, the Cloudians are going to stay on the field for a very long time. And going back to the pop ability of this deck, what's crazy too is that the effects of these guys right here, they're not once per turn. So you can only imagine if you're able to, you know, stack up your fog counters. Oh my goodness, that should be a OTK or something like a board wipe. There you go, that's what I'm looking for, the words. But yeah, fam, Konami did great with this deck, especially with the skill card Fog Warning. The Cloudians are legit, if you ask me. So there you go, fam. That's the deck. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please feel free to hit the like button because it helps me out a lot. And if you haven't already subscribed to me, your Speed Duel bro, you're more than welcome to subscribe, because 2 things. 1, I always play to win, and I'll teach you how to win. And no matter what the power level of the deck is, be it casual, semi-competitive, or competitive, we're gonna do our best to win this thing. And 2, if you love speed duels, I'm sure you'll love me too, your Speed Duel bro. Okay, fam, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.